a senator, wants to make sure a group of military vets in Georgia get the health care they deserve. This outreach effort could be life-changing for women, doing everything possible to avoid becoming a statistic.
So recent information from the American Cancer Society reveals an estimated 9,400 new cases of breast cancer were recorded in Georgia this year alone. Now, a Georgia senator is leading the charge to make mammograms more accessible.
Atlanta News First reporter Abby Kasouris live tonight in Atlantic Station. Abby, you spoke with Senator Jon Ossoff about this plan.
Well, early detection is key to fight breast cancer. Time and transportation, two of the reasons that female veterans tell me that they put off a trip to the VA to go and get those critical screenings. Now, this money, $10 million secured in order to expand the mobile mammography unit that they have here in Georgia and across the country. And this is why it's so critical. 1 in 8 women will be detected that breast cancer during some of those screenings. However, women who served in the military, they're 20 to 40% more likely to develop breast cancer than those who never served. The Purple Heart Foundation, they link the increased risks to the exposure of chemicals and radio emissions. Tiffany McWilliams and Georgia's military women worked with Senator Ossoff's office to secure this funding.
Georgia is such a huge state, and a lot of it is rural, and some people just don't have the means or the transportation to get to the VA clinics. So taking this service to them is tremendous, and I utilize the VA as my primary care, and I get mammograms, and I understand how important it is.
And those buses, they have doctors, nurses, and one of those special x-ray machines on board. This money will go to improving some of the current facilities, adding more units, and of course letting people know about this program. The American Cancer Society recommends that women get screenings after the age of 40. Live tonight in Atlanta, Abby Kasouris for Atlanta News First.
Well, a lump isn't the only sign of breast cancer right now on the Atlanta News First app. 5 other clues signaling you or a loved one may have the disease.